Join us this week as Stuart sets out to blaze another trail because clearly hiking the Appalachian Trail in 2020 wasn't crazy enough.
All right. So I got a real nice day today. So I have been, since first got here, planning on climbing to that peak up there. So I'm about to attempt that climb and see what I can see from the top of that peak. And see what the campground looks like from up there. So let's move on that way and see what we can do. All right, this is really where this climb begins right here. I'm at the upper end. That's site 50 for our tents. So I'm gonna head up the woods right here and work my way up. So this is where it begins. So we're gonna head that way. This is a little trail we have going up in the woods, but we're fixing to turn off of it to the right here and work our way up to the right. Should be a little clearing right up there, and then should be able to stay in that clearing all the way up to the top. Sorry about that, Mr. Squirrel. First squirrel I've really seen, and that might be the first person he's seen in a while. All right. All right, got a hollow log here we're gonna look up in, see what we can find. No, not really see anything up there in that. Doesn't look like it, but hollow logs right here are pretty tough to find. Let's look over here on this other side here. Yeah. Now you can see up in there, but there ain't a whole lot up in there. No. But it's just tough to find hollow logs up here in South Dakota. So you can see I've made it to the edge of the clearing. Turn you around a little bit. So I'm gonna go up that clearing, see what's up on top. Got a little ravine right here, right there. I'm gonna sort of stay on the edge of it and then go up to the top and see what we got. And that's looking up. So it's pretty steep. I climbed some this steep in AT, but it had trails and they were not necessarily straight up either. So right up there are the rocks I'm sure I'm trying to get to. Right there. My last video wasn't very far. It was just right over there on this side of that first pine tree right there. But you can see across the gulch right there, and then I don't know if you can see it through these pine trees. We're going to ease up just a little bit. Let you see what right now what the backside looks like over there. Don't think I'm gonna make that one today. But like I said, that's my goal right there, I believe. So I came up from that way, came up with that little wash up on here on this saddle. instead of trying to climb straight up. But this is my view on the opposite side where I'm at, and I haven't even made it to the top yet, but very incredibly beautiful view right here. And that's Deadwood is pretty much behind that little ridge where it drops off down in the valley. An incredible view. So far I haven't seen any more wildlife, but I got about probably 100 more yards right up this ridge, and I'll be to where I was headed. So that's my point right up there, maybe another 50 yards, but this whole ridge right here has rocks running up and down it, which we can't see from our campground. That's right there is what we see from the campground, but right here is a beaten down game trail. Right here, if I can zoom out a little bit, right there where the end of the stick is, something has been bedded there. And you can see where the grass is beat down going down the hill. So there's your bed. And this is what I'm looking at so far. Like I said, I have not even made it to the top. You can see the top of one of our cabins right there. So, but this is what I'm seeing on this side of the ridge. All right, that's the summit right there. This is looking back down. You can see the yellow manor right down there in there. Campground, that part of that's one of the older buildings in Deadwood lead area. So let's get on up here and look, because you can see all these rocks in the ground. Get up here, quite a view. Quite a view. So get up over here over this little ridge, and we can be able to look back over that point over there. This rock ridge here. Oh, yeah, I'm tired. Wasn't the easiest one. Some good trails. Back over that way. There's the curve down there. Let me see. Get up here. See if Nancy can see us from down where she's at. All right. Let's see. See if she can see you. I think I can, because she's standing right. Let me get you set here where I can zoom in. I'm trying to hold my camera and everything. So let's zoom in on Nancy down there, and if I can find her again. Right there is Nancy. Got it zoomed so far it's hard to hold it steady though. So there she is. I'm gonna ease on up a little bit higher and give you some more video.
There, I see him. If it wasn't for his orange shirt, I wouldn't be able to see him up there. I guess he's going to continue climbing up. I think he's finally reached the top. Way to go, Screwball.
See right there, that white right there is the top of our rig. That's the spoil piles that we look at from the back. But you can see the mine right there, and then lead is just on the other side of that. I'm not sure the name of that mine. There's only one mine that's actually that big around here, so it's the same one we've talked about earlier. So I'm gonna use on up this ridge a little further. I'm where I was planning on coming because these are the rocks we were seeing. But I'm gonna go on up the ridge a little bit further and just see what kind of view I can get. So, somewhere, I'm not sure, but somewhere over there, one of those ridges is Mount Roosevelt. And when we made that drive from Mount Roosevelt, we was overlooking this. We could see these rocks I'm standing at, and that spoil pile behind us. Then there's some fairly large looking building there. So that's the campground down there. You can see everything, but it was a really good climb. I'm where I wanted to be, and just glad I've made it up here. But trust me, I'm out of shape, so I'm gonna go on up a little bit further. Got a good little breeze up here, but when these leaves start changing colors in about 3 or 4 weeks, this will be a good viewing point. But I'm not gonna walk up here just to see the leaves. So haven't seen any other animals other than the squirrel. Thought I might see some deer or something, and I imagine if I stayed up here and looked long enough, we would. So let me get on up this hill. So now I am truly on the peak of this ridge. Just looking back over, you can't see our site because it's behind that right there, but you can see that little black tarp that's on the other side of the road. Down there's the curve again. Standing on a big old rock thing. You got a bunch of fallen rock slide that way. If you look right here, you can see all those rocks that have slid off. I don't know if you can see all these flies and bugs that's flying around up here. Good little trail out there, good little ridge. And that goes back to, ooh, these bugs are rough. Like I said, that goes back to where we were, Mount Roosevelt. I don't see the tower or anything, but up in there somewhere is the road that came down from Mount Roosevelt. Wind's blowing pretty hard. You may not be able to understand anything I'm saying. All right, well, I'm about to head back home. All right, I don't know if Nancy was doing any talking, but that's our first 2 goats that we've seen on the trip. You see the rock bluffs on one side. When we were coming down, we actually came from that way and tried to get some footage. Wasn't nobody behind us, and then as soon as we get here, there's cars everywhere. These are the bluffs on this side. She just got them sitting there, just grazing away. been out just riding, and today, right now, we're behind the visitor center, or the welcome center. But got them perched up on the hill, walking around. Zoom in, it's harder to get in there without moving. I don't really see any of the big ones. That looks like the herd of a bunch of ewes and some of the younger ones in it.
I counted 8 of them. Ooh, I see one that's a big boy.
His head turned away from us. He keeps walking behind that bush. That one's got a collar on her. There he goes. They're on the bank there. And you got Main Street right here. All right, there's the first porcupine we've seen during the day.
As always, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 9.